Good morning. Hey, listen, on behalf of the volunteers and staff at ACS Can, I just want to say thank you to you guys for everything you do as relayers to help us fight for legislation that impacts cancer patients and their families. Those are public policies that increase federal research dollars, laws that ensure that cancer patients have access to pain medication, legislation that requires workplaces and bars and restaurants to be smoke-free. To all of you who encourage advocacy activities at your local events or sign up ACS Can members or become an ACS Can member yourself, to those of you who take the time to sign a petition or make a phone call at a critical time during a campaign or send an advocacy tweet, please know how your voices, especially when they're combined with hundreds of others, even thousands of others, just imagine the difference that makes putting pressure on lawmakers to act. Now, we're engaged in possibly the biggest campaign any of us will ever be a part of, a campaign to get Republicans and Democrats in Washington to come together, no small task, and commit to significantly more research dollars from federal cancer research funding. Now, we kicked this campaign off in March with our friends at Stand Up to Cancer, and we called it 1 Degree because we are all 1 degree from cancer. My 1 degree is my friend Sarah, who was diagnosed with lung cancer in November and was gone by February. Now, last month, a bill sailed through the House of Representatives with bipartisan support, and you never hear in Washington sailed through or bipartisan much these days. But listen to this. This legislation would direct an extra $8.5 billion to the National Institutes of Health over the next 5 years. Think of the impact on cancer research that would have. So next month, hundreds of ACS Can advocates, they're going to troop up to Capitol Hill. They're going to talk to their senators to get them to pass this bill as well. And if we can add the power of relay through phone calls and tweets and meetings and activities and petitions, just imagine the impact this bill would have on cancer patients. So it is truly amazing what can happen when all of our voices come together at critical times. What a beautiful noise that is. And we can do it all for our 1 degrees. I will do it for my friend Sarah. You can do it for your 1 degrees. We will all do it for the guy you're about to meet, Ian Locke. And here's his story.
So I was playing in a football game my sophomore year of high school, and I got hit in the leg by 2 players from the other team. I played throughout the game, it wasn't a big deal, but it hurt afterwards, and so I went to see a trainer. The trainer thought it was an MCL sprain or tear.
So we went to the local surgeon, and he did an x-ray, and I could tell by the look on his face that something was very wrong.
The x-ray came back with a dark spot on the bone. And so within the next couple of days, I had a biopsy, and then the results from the biopsy came back, and you have what's called osteosarcoma, or a bone tumor.
It's essentially bone cancer. He had a tumor that was located just a little bit below his knee.
He just kept saying, I know it's hard. I know it's hard. And I just kept saying, you don't know what you're talking about. It's not, that can't be it. That can't be it. And we've never met these people before, other than the week before. They're total strangers. They're telling you that your son has cancer.
I stopped going to school because I had to be in the hospital, and I was getting chemo, so I couldn't go to classes. I sat in this spot for days when I wasn't in the hospital, and my family still had to go to work. They still had to go to school. It was just such a huge turn of events. Nothing was the same.
He was 16 as a sophomore, so your worst fear goes from will he play football to will he graduate? Will he go to college? It changes everything.
Because of the location of the tumor, had it been millimeters higher, they would have had to amputate, because at that time they didn't have any joint replacements. Fortunately, they had an opportunity to remove the tumor. The tumor was just far enough down that they could, cut the tumor out, remove the tumor, and leave enough of the bone above and below, and actually they left the sliver on the side so it's healing fantastically.
I did not know about the Cancer Action Network until a coworker of mine approached me and said, I was wondering if you thought that you would be interested in being involved in American Cancer Society. There's a arm of American Cancer Society that works on advocacy. And I said, oh, I don't know if I could handle that. I couldn't even tell her who the state senator was at the time. I said, who am I to be a politically active and an advocate? And she said, no worries, they help you, they support you. And I thought, well, this would be a really good way for me to do something and with all the anger that I had, and to try to make sure that do what we could so that others didn't have to hear those words. You have cancer.
Everybody has like a story of like why it's important to them. And there are so many people that feel like that anger towards cancer in general. And like ACS Can is a way to share that story. You just feel like you're doing something with what happened. You don't have to be like angry because it happened, because it did happen. And like you can't change that. But you can use your story, you can tell others and like make other people or like understand why you're so passionate, and maybe like teach other people how they can use their stories.
Use your story to make a difference. Join ACS Can today. Visit acscan.org/relay or download the ACS Can app on your smartphone.
Don't you wish you could meet the people in these videos? Well, he's here. Please welcome to the stage, Ian Locke.
We are here today to remember and acknowledge the power of every story, the stories of every person who has fought or will fight this wretched disease. Since my diagnosis, I've heard so many of these inspiring and heartbreaking stories, and I don't want to anymore. Everything changed with my diagnosis when I heard those 3 terrible words, "You have cancer." But cancer research paved the way for my treatments that ultimately saved my life, and that's why I'm here today. A few minutes ago, my dog, and my dad, I guess, explained the power that research has, and while I know that I'm in the room with the most driven people in the country, we can't do it alone. We need the government's help. As a member of ACS Can, but more importantly, a survivor of this disease, I need you, the leaders of the Relay movement, to join ACS Can in asking for $1 billion over 2 years for research at the National Cancer Institute. $1 billion towards a potential end to this fight, saving millions of lives along the way. That is an extraordinary concept, and it all begins today by becoming a member of ACS Can. I would like to recognize those who have joined ACS Can here at this conference. Please stand if you've joined ACS Can over the last 2 days. You could have signed up at the ACS Can Cafe on Thursday or during yesterday's mission panels. Now, stand if you want to join me and everyone else that was standing around you in painting this nation purple from the office of your local legislature to the Senate floor in Washington, D.C., to let your lawmakers hear your voice and your story. Stand if you plan to join ACS Can before you leave Dallas this weekend. My hope is that 100% of you are standing and therefore willing to make your voice heard. So now, if you're part of that last group, it's time to get your pens out, because now's the time. Now's the time to accomplish that 100% enrollment of the people in this room. At your chairs were the membership forms. Please start filling them out, and you can turn them in to the people wearing these shirts on your way out the door after this general session. If you want to join, if you have already joined ACS CAN or want to give a little bit more, you can join at the $20 level and make sure that you get your membership gift, your premium membership gift, on your way out the door. If you don't want to, if you can't turn it in at the end of this session, you can also turn it into the people wearing these shirts at the end of the next session or throughout the day. They will be at the entryway to the ballroom, just to make sure. I stand here today because so many people before us made a commitment to eradicating this disease. Now, I'm doing everything I can to fight it, whether it's on the track, at my relay event, or in the office of my representative. The passion that drives me to walk another lap is the same passion that brings me here today to ask you to become a member of ACS CAN. Thank you.